Hey there, I'm Brittany Flammer, and welcome to my channel where I share videos all about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. Now, budgeting is very simple in principle, but sometimes actually using a budget is a lot more complicated. So here on my channel, I share our budget at the beginning of the month. I share what our budget is. And then at the end of the month, I like to do a budget wrap up or a budget report showing you our actual numbers because stuff comes up. Even though I have been budgeting with a zero-based budget for years and years, I still make mistakes. Even this month, I had several mistakes or unexpected expenses. So I just like to show how I do our budget because it's what works for us. And I like helping people. So I do coaching. And I just see a lot of the same mistakes over and over. So I like to share my experience to try to help alleviate some of those mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my budget template. And while I am doing that, there is a link in the chat or in the comments. You can snag my template if you like this template. Now, I don't care if you use pen and paper. I don't care if you use a budgeting app or if you use spreadsheet. I personally like spreadsheets, so that's what I do. But you got to do whatever works for you. But the principles are the same no matter what format you are using. So I'm going to pull up my sheet. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump into it. And you can see I have notes here because I forget things. So I want to mention a few points. So let's go ahead and start with budget or with our income. My husband is salary, so he gets paid the same every month. So he got exactly what we were expecting. He's a teacher, so his pay is not calendar year, it's on the school year. And he did get a little bit of a raise. So this has gone up. His pay is higher than what it used to be, but also we stopped having retirement contributions made from his paycheck. So his gross pay isn't much different, but our take-home pay is a lot higher. So we will have to contribute to retirement on our own. His employer contributes 10%, but it's not a match. They just put 10% in. So we also like to contribute 10% to retirement. But we are doing it at a different investment in Roth IRAs somewhere else that has a lot better investment options. So his take-home pay is a lot higher because we haven't had our retirement taken out. And then my business, we do not budget anything off of my business. We budget to live off of my husband's income. And then anything I make, we're putting towards our house. So this $937, I'll show you down below where I put that in. But then also interest, the same thing. We have money in a lot of online savings accounts. In fact, I love online savings accounts for so many reasons. In fact, I have a video with my favorite online savings accounts. I'm going to put also in the comments, in the chat. But we have lots of money in online savings accounts and we are earning interest on that. So I don't anticipate the interest. It's like just extra icing on our cake. So I don't budget for it. And then we put it towards either more money in our emergency fund or towards our vacation, things like that in our online savings accounts. So our income was more than $1,000 more than we expected, which is a great problem to have. But that also means that our tithing is higher because we pay 10% on our gross income. So we made more money. So we went over budget, $110, but that is a problem I am happy to have because it means we're making more money. This is a difference. I have updated my spreadsheet and made a few changes. I separated donation from our expenses. I personally like to budget. Our goal has kind of always been 10% to donate, 20% to savings, live off of 70%. And then I like to live off of less than that and save more if possible. But our minimum has always been kind of 20% to savings. And so I like keeping the tithing separate. And I like having these percentages because it shows me where our money is going. And sometimes it's nice to have a percentage. But even if you don't do the 10, 20, 70, a lot of people like the 50, 30, 20%, whatever you do, I kind of like having the percentages. But our mortgage is fixed. These are all of our expenses, and most of them are the same month to month. Mortgage is fixed. Our natural gas is the same every month. And then once a year, they change it. So we just pay an average. Our water bill is our city bill, also has our garbage in there. It varies by a couple dollars, but it's always right around here. So we're actually under budget a couple dollars. Our electricity, I somehow deleted our electricity from our budget. I don't know how that happened, but when I was going over at the end of the month, our expenses, I realized I hadn't budgeted for electricity. So we do have solar panels, so it's not very much we pay each month, but I had accidentally deleted it. So this is why it's good to go over it regularly. And so we went over budget there because I forgot about it. Life insurance, this is my term life insurance. It's fixed. We pay a monthly. Our car insurance, we do pay monthly. We don't get a discount for paying up front every 6 months. So we just pay monthly to keep our budget the same every month. And it does fluctuate by a few dollars. So we were under 108 is the highest I've ever seen it. So usually we're under by a couple dollars. So here we are under by about $4. Phone bill, this is my husband and I have cell phones, and we are on a plan with a family member who has a great discount, and she just added our lines. So we just pay the $30 it cost her to add our lines. And then our oldest daughter has a cell phone now, and to add her to our plan now would be like $35 a month. So we researched around, we found Mint Mobile, it's only $15 a month. So we tried it out and we liked it. It was a good experience and it was cheaper than everything else. So we paid for hers for a full year. We got a discount. So it works out to be about $15 a month, but we paid it all up front. We've been happy with it. It was the cheapest option. So we've already paid for her bill, and they just emailed me. We have an affiliate link. So I have a link. I can add that in the comments or in the description box down below after this video. You can get, I think it's $15 off if you try them out, which is a month of free phone. So if you want that, I will add that. Our internet is fixed at $62. Our gas for our cars, we try to keep it low. We did go over budget. We spent $252. We've been working like crazy on our garage addition. And that's like the only thing we use my husband's truck for. So we had to gas it up this month. But we've been running back and forth from the store, getting more wood, things like that. So we don't gas that up very often. All of our vehicles are pretty full at the end of October. So we went over a little bit. Our piano is fixed. That's just for one kid to do piano, $50. Preschool is fixed. We have our youngest is in preschool, $125 for the month. So if you can see, all of these expenses are almost the same month to month. So it's really boring. It's really simple to do our budget because it doesn't change much. I try to set it up so everything's either average payments or paid monthly. But then we move on to our less fixed, more of our fun expenses, the ones that I have a lot more control over. And groceries is the biggest one. I budgeted $700 and I went over $741. I did spend, we were in charge of a meal for the volleyball team at the high school. That's 40 girls. And I did the main dish. I had most of my stuff on hand. So I didn't have to buy too much, but we bought Halloween candy and we went to a couple of Halloween parties where we took food, things like that. It just adds up. So we went over, but I don't feel too bad about that. I feel like I almost always go over in groceries by a few dollars, but no matter how much I increase our grocery bill to, I always go over. So I don't want to increase our budget because I feel like I'll still go over because in my mind, I think I have more. So I'm just leaving it. $40 in the scheme of things isn't that bad. I feel okay about that. Eating out, we did not eat out at all. My husband and I usually eat out once or twice for dates. Let me know in the comments what you do for dates. We usually eat out once or twice and we share, or we do like fast casual restaurants so we don't have to tip a server, things like that. But this month, all of our dates included working on our garage because the weather was nice. We're trying to get everything dried in for winter before the snow comes. So we didn't do anything else. So we didn't spend any money, which is good. Miscellaneous, I don't even know what that was. We spent right about our budget for miscellaneous. Entertainment, like I said, everything we did was working on our garage with our kids, with my husband and I, which is not very exciting. I guess we did do some Halloween stuff. We went to a trunk or treat for our church and for preschool, but I just bought candy for that or food to take. So that came out of my grocery budget. So I guess in theory, I could have pulled our candy out of the entertainment budget, but it's not a big deal. Our kids' money, we pay them for jobs, and they are terrible at actually marking them off. They're not allowed to do screen time until they've done their job, so they usually do them, but they're terrible at marking off their charts. We have one daughter that usually marks hers off, but then also we buy our candy from our kids from Halloween. So basically Halloween night, let me know what you do, because I know lots of people that do different things. I'm always looking for new ideas. So in the comments, let me know how you guys handle candy with Halloween. Basically on Halloween night, we let our kids eat a bunch of candy. And then they go through it and sort it like I always did as a kid. I think that's a normal thing to do. But as they sort it, we offer to buy it back. I used to do $1 a pound, but my kitchen scale broke and I just bought a new one, and it's digital. And so we did ounces. So I did 10 cents an ounce. So that's a lot more money, but whatever they go through, and the stuff they don't like as much or the stuff that's heavier, they will sell back to us. And then what they decide to keep, we just put up out of reach, and they get like a piece a day type thing, something in their lunch, maybe something after dinner. And so most of our kids sold some of it back. Our oldest doesn't trick or treat anymore, but then our next two got a ton, and the youngest two sold back a little bit. So anyway, most of our money came from buying back their Halloween candy, and just one daughter that actually marks off her chart. And then babysitting, we didn't go out, so we didn't need babysitter. I did pay my daughter to babysit. Well, I took one kid to an orthodontist appointment, and it was like half an hour. Or it was not very long. So I did pay her a few dollars for that. But then skis. This was not something I had budgeted. This is for Christmas. For Christmas, we already bought a season ski pass for our family. We bought it in the spring when it was the cheapest. But we want to buy equipment for our family. So I knew we were planning on that. That's going to be our main Christmas gift to our whole family. They're each getting their equipment, and that's what we had planned. But I wasn't planning on buying anything till November or December, but we found someone that sells them out of their house, used equipment. We were able to outfit our entire family for $1,015 for everything: skis, poles, boots, helmets, and goggles. So we bought used stuff. We spent a little bit more than we had planned on, but everyone got goggles, everyone got helmets, all those little extra things that we weren't gonna buy. We found them for a good price, but they only took cash. So I withdrew $600 cash, because I didn't know what we would find. So I just took out $600, and then my husband has a stash of cash. Like if we sell something, or sometimes when our kids babysit, they'll give us the cash, then we put the money into their account. So we just have some cash on hand. So we use the cash on hand plus the $600 I withdrew. But like I said, we've been planning on Christmas. For our Christmas, we usually use the cash back on our credit card, and that's our Christmas budget. And we have the $600, we have more than that coming back in cash back from our credit card, but I haven't gotten that cash yet. So I pulled out the $600. So I'm going to have to deal with that. So I'll show you how I deal with that at the end. And then also I'll show you how I've started tracking these expenses throughout the month. If you scroll down here on my template, I like to do this. So this grocery expense, I just type in the amount I have budgeted for the month. And then every time I purchase something, I just type in the amount. So it tells me how much I've spent and then how much I have left to spend for the month. So I really like this for categories that I spend regularly throughout the month. So like groceries, for us, it's kids extracurriculars and house maintenance. Those are the ones that we use the most. So I've started doing that to track it throughout the month. So I really like that. So that's how I track these things right up here. But then moving on to our debts, we do use credit cards, but we pay them off every month. So we do not have any balance on our card. So we don't have we're not paying any interest. We treat it like a debit card. So I don't include our credit card here. And we also have a mortgage, but I included the mortgage in our monthly expenses. So I don't include any debt here. But that, if I did have debt, I would put it there. But now onto our savings, or a lot of these are sinking funds. So this is like the key for me to keeping our budget and making it work every month when irregular expenses come up. So this savings includes like our investments, our emergency fund, but then also all these sinking funds. So I'll show you how they work. Our emergency fund is fully funded, so we didn't add anything to it, but I mentioned online savings accounts. It's in an online account and it's earning like 5.4% interest, something like that. So every month when we earn interest, we just let it sit in in our emergency fund. So we just let it accumulate each month. So we're now up to $15,865. Then my husband's fund money, we each get $25 of fund money. And we have it automatically transferred from our main checking account into our own individual checking accounts. So he gets $25 for his fund money. And then he also gets $25 for his bike maintenance. He has a bike. He has several bikes but one has a motor on it, and there's quite a bit of maintenance on that. And that's what he uses to get to and from work. So 25 of that goes up to his bike maintenance. And then it's not very often he does something on it, but it accumulates in his account. So then when he does have to buy a new tire or replace the battery or something, he's already got the money there and it doesn't mess up our budget. So he didn't spend anything from his account. So he's got $553 in his account. And then my fund money, same thing. I get $25 every month that automatically goes into my own checking account. I did spend $8 on something. So now I'm at $70 in my account. So I buy small stuff fairly often. My husband hardly ever buys anything. And when he does, it's something big. And so I like this. It's his money. He spends however he wants. And then when he spends several $100s, I don't care because he already had the money there. And our life insurance, we only pay, this is for my husband's life insurance. We only pay it once a year, but it's expensive. So every month we have it taken out of our budget. So it's automatically transferred from our checking account into our savings account, $69 every month. And then this month in October, our payment was due for the year. So we spent $819. So we actually have $8.49 left. So I could adjust the automatic payment to be exact, but I'm not going to worry about it. House maintenance, I budgeted $115. So I take this out of our checking account and put it into a separate account. And I only put 100 in because it's on auto pay. So it's automatically transferred and it was just set to $100. And at the end of the month, when I realized that, I could have gone in and added 15, but we had a lot of other expenses coming up. So I just left it at the $100. So we currently have 118 in there. And that's the house maintenance. That's one of those things where we'll go a while without spending anything. And then we need to replace something big like a furnace or water heater or something. And so it doesn't mess up our budget because we've been setting aside some money every month. So we've already got some money there. Not very much because we only have 118, but we have some. Then our vacation, I budgeted 200, but then I only put 1164. And this is the interest from one of our online savings accounts gets deposited into our vacation fund. So I just let the interest deposit there. I did not transfer $200 in. This is not set to auto pay because it varies month to month based on our spending. And so I was just going to manually transfer 200 over, but we had a ton of kids' extracurricular expenses. So I decided to put it in there instead. So, and we did spend 95. My husband and I are going on a trip to South Africa. And on the way back, it was $600 cheaper for our flights if we did a 24-hour layover in Amsterdam. And so we thought we'd save $600 and we had to buy some train tickets to get to the city and a hotel. So that's what we paid for. We've been to Amsterdam before, but I now collect magnets from places we go and I never got a magnet from there. So I'm excited to get a magnet, go to 1 or 2 museums that day. So our vacation budget we have in there just over $1,000. We are going in November to South Africa. We've already paid for all the major stuff. All of our flights and lodging are taken care of. This $1,000 will cover, we're having a family member, baby, come stay with our kids and babysit our kids. So we're paying for that. And then a few activities for our kids while we're gone. And then just some spending money while we're there. For our house updates, we budgeted $200 and I put $200 in. I took it out of our checking account, put it into our savings account for house updates. We did spend almost $1,000, just trips, basically just lumber for framing that we've been working on. So we have just under $9,000 in there. And I've mentioned we're building a garage. We've got it, everything framed on the exterior, sheathing. We're having someone else do the brick and siding. So we have enough money to pay for that. And then we're going to have to save up some more money before we finish everything else. Extra mortgage payment. This, I didn't budget anything, but then everything I earned from my job, we put towards it. So we now have over $5,000. We have a very low mortgage interest rate. So I just have it accumulating in an online savings account, earning 5-point-something% interest. Clothing, I budget $75 and we put $75 in. This is one of those automatic transfers that happens every month. Because we tend to buy clothing in seasons. We buy a little bit every month, but the seasonal changes is when we spend the most. So I like having it monthly from our budget, so it doesn't mess up our budget month to month. But then when we need stuff, we bought some snow pants and some winter clothing. And I like to buy stuff used, and so I don't spend very much. So we have 58 now in our clothing account. Same with gifts. We budgeted 25, put 25 in, didn't spend anything. I'll spend some money for teacher gifts in December. So we've got 52 so far in that account. Then medical, we budgeted 125, put 125 into it, and we didn't spend anything. This is really basically just for braces for our kids for upcoming expenses. We do have health insurance through my husband's work, and we have a flex spending account. Any like minor stuff we have, we pay for out of that account. In fact, I should probably include that in here, but I haven't. I should add that in. So we have 1,175 to go towards when we have something major that has to happen. We have the cash for it. Car expenses, this is just regular maintenance on our vehicles. We budgeted 75, put 75 in. So we now at the end of October have 831. And this next month, we're going to need to replace the tires on our van, and we've gotten quote on them to have winter tires. It's going to be 800 something. So we should have enough to do that. Christmas, we didn't budget anything. We didn't put anything in. We have zero saved. I have mentioned in other videos, we, for our Christmas budget, we use the cash back on our credit card, which we should have about $800 from that. And then we use cash. I get cash back on several different apps. Like I bought on Fetch and Rakuten. Some of them I get the actual cash. Some of them it's just gift cards to like Amazon. But I will use all of that cash back to go towards our Christmas. And that won't quite cover it with the expense of our skis. So in November and December, I'm going to save a little bit out of our budget to go towards Christmas to cover everything. And then our kids extracurricular, I mentioned that I didn't put money into our vacation because I wanted it to go towards kids extracurricular. So we put $325 in. We did spend $166. We paid for some my son's soccer training over the winter, and we signed up one of our kids for some indoor ultimate for winter. So we have 370 in that account. My daughter plays club volleyball, and we have to pay in the fall, sometime in November. And we don't know exactly how much it's going to be. Last year was like $500 or so, but we know she'll be on a higher level this year. So I don't know how much to expect for sure, but I know it will be several $100s. So we just threw as much as we could towards it this month. And then in November, we'll probably do the same thing so that we can cover her volleyball expense. Then also, I mentioned our retirement's not being taken out of our paycheck anymore. So we are contributing $400 for my husband's Roth IRA, $400 for my Roth IRA. And I don't track these because they're invested in the market, but I do like to see the percentages to show how much we're saving. So we are putting in, what's that? 13%. We should probably do a little bit more. 13%. And then my husband's employer is contributing 10%. So that's like 23% we're saving. My husband is 8 years older than me. So we also need to start contributing to a non-retirement account, like mutual funds or something, or index funds that are non-retirement, because even if he works until he can get medical insurance, is that 65 or 67? I don't know. I won't be old enough to qualify. So we're going to have to bridge the gap from until I could qualify for Medicare. Anyway, money that we can access before I'm retirement age. So we used to have some money in, but we pulled it out for our garage. So we need to start contributing to that. And I need to do that this month. That's on my to-do list. But so if you scroll down, I'm over 635. That's basically because of the skis. So we will have money. We have money on cash back on our credit card. I like to wait until December and just cash it all in at once. But I could cash in $600 worth to pay for this cash I withdrew for our skis. Or we keep a buffer in our checking account of about $1,000. So we have the cash in there. So I'm not going to worry about it until November. Maybe at the end of November, I'll cash in our credit cards just to keep the buffer in our checking account. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. I keep track. I check in on our checking account. We have money in there because not all of our bills have come out yet. So I'm not going to worry about it now, but I will be getting the cash back from our credit card to cover those skis. So I'm not going to stress about that, but I will take these changes and tweak them. I've already posted my November budget. If you are interested to see the changes I made for our November budget, you can check that video out. Otherwise, I don't see any questions in the stream. So if you do have any comments or questions, just type them, leave a comment, and I try to respond to all of my comments. So I will try to answer your question as best I can. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Good luck with eating all the Halloween candy, or not eating all the Halloween candy, and preparing for the holidays. If you have questions about the holidays, I show my holiday budget template and how I budget for Christmas and for the holidays. I also share on Instagram how I spend our money for Christmas. So anyway, feel free to check those out. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.